Hey y'all. So, me and my family just got back from Disney World yesterday in Orlando, Florida. We um we had a great time. It was the first time that we took my nephew, and he just had a good time. I mean, he didn't have a good time when he had to get off the ride, but but he had a good time overall. I bought him I bought him a little toy to play with. I think he of that more than all of the other toys now. I'm not being bragging or anything, but just what I saw, I think he has that more than his other toy now. But the first day of our trip, we went to Magic Kingdom. Because, you gotta go to Magic Kingdom the first day. But we went there, and we got on the boat to go back home, to go back to our cabin, and out in the distance of that boat, I couldn't help but notice one of the many hotels Orlando has. It was a big hotel, not the biggest there probably, but it was a big hotel. And I couldn't stop myself from thinking, that's what I want. I I want that for myself. Not that I wanted the hotel, because I didn't, but I feel confident in saying that we all want to be successful. We all want notoriety. We all want to be an influencer to things. We all want our name to mean something. And sometimes when we are Christian and we have to struggle against this world, we have to struggle against fleshly desires, sometimes we can't help but think, is this even worth it? I mean, am I gonna get anything out of this? Out of this struggle? Or just am I gonna get rewarded? Is my hard work and my suffering sometimes gonna pay off? That week we talked about the rich man and Lazarus. And at the end of that sermon, I said, God wants, in spite of your situation, for you to come to Him. Everyone can have that God sense. Everyone has an inkling that God exists. It is their choice, though, whether they want to do anything with that information or not. So I talked about how, in spite of your situation, God wants you to come to Him. And that's true. God and Christ do want you to come to Him. That's always been true. But I want to come at this from another angle. Turn with me to Luke 17:22. Again, Luke 17:22. So it was that the beggar died and was carried by the angel to Abraham's bosom. The rich man also died and was buried. The beggar means Lazarus, obviously. But Lazarus didn't have what could be considered by many a successful life. At least in the physical. He didn't have what would be considered by multi anyone a successful life. I mean, sores all over his body. He had to wait. He sat by the mat table, hoping crumbs would fall, and he would eat those crumbs. He he did not have a good life here on earth. But we see that God rewarded his servitude, and God rewarded his patience, and God rewarded his faithfulness. And that's what happens. There's nothing wrong. This story of the rich man in Nazareth, it's not trying to condemn rich people or successful people here on earth. It's not trying to do that. It's trying to say, hey, no matter what your status is, or no matter what you have or you don't have, in the end, the only way to truly be eternally successful is to follow Christ with everything that you are and everything that you have, in spite of suffering, in spite of the waiting, in spite of the patience. God will reward you because he is faithful, and he will not let your suffering go in vain. His salvation is for everyone, whether they're successful in this world or not. He just wants you to notice and to know where your success ultimately comes from. And whether you know it or not, that is God. And whether you believe it or not doesn't change the truth. Whether you believe in hell and heaven or not doesn't change the reality and doesn't change the truth of those two scenarios. This story right here, just basically all of this Bible, we have the key to salvation, and it does not discriminate. It does not see rich, poor, successful, not successful. It just sees your heart. And it sees whether you truly serve God with everything that you are and everything that you have, and whether you truly believe in him or not. Because God knows you better than you know yourself. You may fall, and I'm not trying to call anybody out here, I'm just speaking in general. People may fool other people about how good they are and maybe about their own salvation, but they can never fool God. That's why it is so important and so vital to be genuine. That's why God wants a genuine reaction and a genuine response from you to salvation. Because when God truly enters your heart, when he truly sends the Son Jesus in your heart, and he truly and genuinely does that, you have no choice but to respond accordingly. And, well, you have a choice in that, but ultimately, if you choose not to follow him, you may be successful in this world, but that's not going to translate to eternal success. But for Lazarus it did, because he knew where success truly came from and where his heart truly was and who he truly belonged to, and it was God. And there's no time limit. It doesn't matter how young or how short you've served God, or how much time you've had salvation for. The reward's going to be the same. Now, I would put a little addendum to that by saying it is, by saying it is better to accept Christ early on and have true self-worth and true self-value and be joyful for younger in this world than accepting him a young time down the road. But there's no timetable on it. God will wait for the young of the hour to, and as young as the yet, he will wait. But it's better to do sooner than later, because honestly, just like Lazarus and just like the rich man, I don't know how young I don't know what the specifics were, but no one knows when they're gonna step into eternity or not. It can spring on you in an instant. And I know that you would rather be in eternity with God than in eternity of torment. And that's what I ultimately want for you too. Guys, I love you. I'll be praying for you. Take it easy. Stay safe. Don't be too hard on yourself. Remember, God always on the throne. God always proud of you because you are His creation. But it is your responsibility to live your life to the fullest of what He's inclined you to do. Guys, I love you, and I'll see you next week.